So you've got shitty garbage eyes and you would like to see if you can make some moisture chamber glasses that fit you or are affordable or are just accessible to you, because for the moment that's not the case. Well, I'm making this video for you. If it helps, good. Don't expect high production value because yeah, it's hard to do anything. I'm sure you understand if you're here. Okay, so let's start with maybe looking at what we're gonna need. First, you're gonna need some glasses. If they're vision glasses that you have, please be sure that you're not gonna miss them, because the glue is extremely difficult to remove properly. So to some extent, it will always be there. Those are cheap safety glasses that I got. They're imitation goggles, and they were like maybe 20 euros for a pair of them. That's why I'm using them today. If you acquire something like this, please have them fitted before you start this process. They need to be able to stay on your face properly without hurting you. For this, I advise that you either get a strap for the back of your head, a strap, which I understand if you have long hair like me, you will not be bothered to do this. I know there are the silicone stoppers that you can put on the arms. I found those incredibly uncomfortable. So I made my own stoppers using, what are those called? Makeup sponges. They're very soft, and I simply cut them to size, put a hole through them, and slid them here. And since my hair is rather dark and I chose black sponges, they're not that visible. Alright, so after you have those glasses, the hardest thing to acquire will be some silicone. Here you have liquid silicone. This specific silicone is skin safe, which is why I bought it. If you buy your own that is different from Wacker brand, please make sure that is skin safe. Then the other thing to look at will be the hardness of the silicone when cured. This one is Shore 20A, which is rather soft, which is what you want. I wouldn't advise anything higher than 30A, and maybe you can go as low as 15 or 10A. Keep in mind that you want them to be soft and comfortable, but not so soft that they can't, they don't have any rigidity and cannot keep upright. Then they won't be usable. Then I guess the next rare item that that you're probably not going to have in your cupboard somewhere is going to be some modeling clay, just polymer clay. I would get some white one, because the other ones I have that are colored, the color is going to get everywhere. It's going to be gross. You don't have to get like a massive chunk like this. Yeah, there's tiny pieces that you can get for like 3 euros. That will be sufficient. Then after that, please get some card paper. I don't think I need to show you what card paper looks like, but yeah, get some. Get some transparent film. You can get pretty much anywhere. Get some patafix, some tape, some scissors, something to write on the transparent sheet, which please be very careful that this type of marker thingies doesn't get on your lens. And what else? You will need a dish, preferably oven safe, with a very smooth and level bottom, like this. And of course, big enough that you can accommodate the size of the gasket that you're going to make. A note on glasses. Unfortunately, your glasses are only going to be as good as the anti-fog coating on the inside. Those I've tried, and they were just alright. You're never going to have the best vision possible. After that, the eye echo were alright. I've been wearing them for like 2 years. They've held up, I can see. But if I'm outside and there's a brutal swing of temperature, I'm gonna lose my vision, like almost instantly. Those have the same issue, even worse. Then the Tina glasses, yeah, they're also not very good when it comes to that. The best I have had so far are the struggles. So if you acquire glasses like this, maybe you're gonna have to just try it. There's no way to tell truly how good it'll be before you use it. Every single day you're on and about and you have changes in temperatures and humidity. Alright. Okay, I forgot. You will need some silicone glue. This is for aquariums. You have to make sure that it is 100% silicone. It stinks like vinegar until it is fully cured. So I will probably say that later on again when I use this. Do not put on your glasses until they are fully cured. It's very important. Your eyes are already garbage. You don't want to make them worse with some nice vinegar fumes. I chose this specifically because it's meant to be inert once fully cured, so it shouldn't leach harmful chemicals around your eyes, which is kind of important for all of us. Alright. Probably forgot stuff. Yes. You're probably going to need something to mold the clay on. I wouldn't do that on a table like this one because, yeah, it's going to adhere to it like crazy. So this is a simple silicone mat that I use in my oven. Then you're going to need, just give me a sec. Yeah, of course, gloves. You're going to need nitrile gloves. Do not use latex gloves because there are substances that will prevent silicone from hardening. And latex seems to be one of those substances. So those are made out of nitrile. And please use gloves because it's an absolute pain to remove liquid, uncured silicone from your fingers. First step is going to be taking measurements. So I devised a very crude, rather uncomfortable way to take such measurements. If someone has a better idea, I'm all for it, but this was the fastest, and in the end it worked, so good. What you're going to do is take the patafix and put it on the outside of your glasses here. I mean, if you don't have pre-existing gaskets, just the rim. Then what you're going to do is either while the glasses are on your face, yourself with a mirror, or if possible a partner that can help you, are going to take those strips of card paper and stick them in a way where it touches your skin, maybe digs in a tiny bit. And you're going to do this all around. here, since you have a gasket, you're going to do it from here to the edge here, which is the beginning of the arm. Try to keep them relatively straight like this. Remember to mark the edge, not here where you have the front of the rim, but here where the gasket starts. So you can start with the top. This is of course not measuring anything, I'm just showing you how it's supposed to look like. I'll probably ask my husband to speed forward those parts. It's not terribly interesting. Okay. Then you're going to need to secure those together so that their relative placements always stay the same and you don't lose them. Oh, and of course, to make your life easier, please mark somewhere the exact beginning and the exact end of those measurements. So here, let's say, you can see it starts here. Right? This is going to be your top part. All right. Detach them carefully. And tape the other side so you don't constantly get this tape in sticking to places you don't want them. You don't want it to. And that way also be more stable. Cut off the excess part. Then use the patafix. But this time on the inside. Of course, if you don't have a gasket, you don't need to do that. Ah, lost the marking spot. Just mark it in a better way, like use color tape or something. Do not use marker near the lenses, you're going to ruin them. But you see what I mean. Now then this can go on the inside. And yeah. Try to make it so that it touches. Yeah, this is too thick. try to make it in a way where this bottom is going to touch this edge here. So make sure that the way it fits on your face is comfortable. But a pitfall that I've encountered is that I kept making it just deeper and deeper and deeper. Try not to do that. It will look crazy. It should be just deep enough that your eyelashes do not touch the lenses. And after that, that you're comfortable with it, that it closes the way your goal is. I don't know if your goal is 100% like airtight. I'm trying to do this. It's incredibly difficult because, well, if it's super tight on your face, the way you can only achieve if you have like stoppers behind your ears, it's gonna hurt. One way or another, and you don't want that. So it might not be 100% perfect, but at least you can wear it all day long because it's not going to hurt your face constantly. Alright. So here I have patafix all around. I have the top inside. And the first one here. And so on. This part is going to be tricky depending on the size of your face, because of course you want it to be airtight, but if you keep it really straight, it's going to be ridiculously long. So what we did with my husband is that the gasket in the end was just a smidge too small for the glasses, so it doesn't follow the curve of this pre-existing glass completely, and it's glued only at the bottom, so you can see that it curves inwards more than the gasket. And like this, because I have, I guess, a small face, it fit me. I didn't have problem here on the temple, and it wasn't like super long, it reached my ears or something. We were quite happy with the result in the end. Okay, don't forget to mark the bottom, as I said. And here you see that this is where it starts. This is where I'll put it on the inside. This here is another tricky part, because I cannot tell you how you have to navigate this part. Maybe you have a face with a nose that basically just plugs this area and you don't need anything in addition. Maybe. Or maybe like me, you actually need something here just so that this hard nose pad is not like against your nose constantly, because I hate that. It just hurts. So not on this model here, but on my stoggles, the silicone just goes all around. This is going to be up to you. I cannot decide for you what is the most comfortable and what gives you the best seal in the end. But let's say we're just going to continue. So we have a complete loop. Okay. Just like the top. Secure all the pieces together with tape. Right. So this looks different than at the beginning of the video, because I had to do some reshoots. So yeah, I'm a bit distracted because this is not a good idea for me. I am not doing well at the moment. You know, I had like it got better, and then a few days later, I guess I abused my eyes doing things that, you know, make me happy. And now my eyes suck again. And all I needed to have a shit day was make lunch, and up. My eyes started just uncontrollable burning from there on. But I had a few days where I could do things, and you know what, that was nice. It was like a mini holiday, you know. I hope you guys can have that from time to time, if the glasses work for you. I think that would be nice. Okay. Of course, remove tape so that it still fits you in the end when you put it on the inside. I think this part of the fitting is the one most liable to drive you insane. Well, try not to go screaming from the heels, what I'm saying. Like, it's frustrating, it's finicky, but you can do it. You can do it. Yeah. It happens sometimes. It might not fit like perfectly one-to-one, basically on the inside. No, it's slightly too long. Just try it on, see how it fits, wiggle it around, cut where you need to cut, and maybe tape some more on the edge if you need. But in the end, you should have something like this. Like, be mindful how you want to connect those pieces. I think that probably just a straight line from this point to this point should be enough. I remember this is what I did, but yeah, this is the tricky part. Okay, so here we have the one piece on the edge, so let's call it the edge piece, and this is the outside side. This is the inside. Yeah. Just make yourself some little notes. This is almost perfectly in the corner here, so let's also mark it. It's to make yourself in the future. So now, oops, you can make sure that the pieces fit together. Alright, they do. Great. Now remove this. Let's not break anything. Right. Of course, you don't need patafix on there. I'll just make things messy for the next part, so remove it. God, my eyes on fire. I think I'm gonna have a break for some drops. Oh, this I can clean later. So with this next part, what you want to do is draw this model. So I'm just going to show you how it looks like in the end for this specific model, actually. So what we did is, in the end, we traced that so that we would have something like this. So, of course, I wasn't wearing the glasses, I was just doing whatever, but you'll have something resembling that. And what you want to be mindful of is respecting the curvature of this. So if it curves like this, drawing down like this. It's important so that it fits properly in the end when you put it down. So which side you want to do, I don't care, just like I would advise, okay, I'm trying to think ahead, like for the next part. So if this is the inside, you want this part to be down. It'll help later on, so that the silicone that's on the inside is the smoothest. So there will not be like pits and tiny microscopic divots, or fewer, where bacteria can grow as easily. So just trust me, you want the inside to be down. Then trace it like this. Obtain something like this for both sides. I will advise that before you trace anything, you leave this side inside and you proceed with the second one immediately. Because it's not necessarily likely, but it could be that you pressed too hard on one side, etc. It wasn't actually fitting on your face properly, because it's a wet situation and it might have moved in the process. You want both of those shitty paper gaskets on to be sure that they both sit on your face the way you want them to. And to make your life easier, I think, you can. It's very likely that this will be the mirror of this one. You can try that. You can make a paper flip version, put it on, see how it fits, because then in the end you'll have something more aesthetically pleasing, because they'll be perfectly symmetrical. I would try that first before you maybe bother with the entire process again. Please do not forget to mark exactly on your paper 2D version when you do the outline, to mark like the beginning of the corner of this corner here, like I told you, this is here, and the other corner. Do that when you do the outline. It will help you to, in the end, when you have the silicone, you'll be able to put it down like this on your paper and be like, so where is this supposed to go? Here is the corner? Okay, good. And then you can more easily take it and then place it on your glasses. Otherwise you might place it too much towards the right, too much towards the left, and it's not going to fit the way you want it, and it might not be symmetrical. So yeah, be mindful of this to make your life easier later on in the process. So this is the clay. I flattened it. It's quite thin, probably not quite thin enough. And what you want to do before continuing is probably transfer it to your dish. I don't advise you to try to flatten it in the dish, because it's hard enough as it is. This sticks to everything and really resists becoming flat. People use pasta makers to get this properly flat. I understand why. So what you want to do is get your gasket fitting in this. You want to mark the edge. Be careful every time you mark the edge of this that you don't accidentally make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Try to be very exact. Maybe even angled in a little bit. Now you're probably wondering, why am I bothering to do this? I have clay. I could just make the gasket out of clay directly, then make a mold out of alginate, and then cast the silicone in directly. Of course, that would be the ideal way to do this, but I'm guessing that not all of you have a vacuum chamber that you can use for this, and do not advise you to try without a vacuum chamber, because silicone, like the one I showed you before, tends to be too viscous and will be full of bubbles. So a vacuum chamber will remove all of those air bubbles so that when you cast it, it's nice and smooth and bubble free. Here, the silicone is cast so thin that the bubbles can very easily reach the edges, and because of this, the gasket is structurally good. So there are no bubbles inside of this. Despite this, when working on this, I want it would be nice if possible to have the smooth side be the inside of the gasket, because then you know they're less likely to have micro bubbles and such where bacteria could accumulate. So what you should do is cut this out, then flip it. Because then the smooth side will be the one in contact with your bottom there. And be very careful, because this will deform very easily. Okay, my eyes are so done for today doing this, so I'm just going to quickly give you the general idea. I'll continue with this tomorrow. What I want to do here, the idea is that you make the edges not only smooth but rounded. So you're going to use, if you can find a tool like this, but really anything you have at home that has like a rounded tip that is very thin, you'll be able to use. Those are quite cheap, but I don't know if you have access to them. Okay. So what you want is that the part that touches your skin isn't extremely sharp, because that will be very uncomfortable very quickly, even if the silicone is very soft. This is what I did here. So if you're not confident that you can achieve this, what I did is that I determined the volume that was needed to fill this with like a millimeter thickness of silicone. Then I cast it, and I obtained a sheet of silicone where I cut those shapes. So those shapes are nice, but in some spots they can be very sharp, because when you cut it, it's not possible to make it perfectly round.
if you're not going to use your moisture chamber glasses all day long like I do, I guess you can get away with this. Like if it's just to go outside for a few hours at a time, fine. But if you would want them to be as comfortable as possible, I would advise you to do this. And to keep just this edge, obviously, this should stay quite sharp. This here and here as well. Just the edge in contact with your skin. Not so much here actually. On the side, it's not going to dig into your face, it's more like going to rest on your temple. So somewhere here you can get away with not bothering with the smoothing. But definitely, especially on your cheekbone, yeah, try to make it rounded and smooth and nice so you do not have sharp edges. Okay, so once you're done with your outline, here I thickened it so that it would be more stable. You can bake it, and of course let it cool down completely, because actually it's better if this is rather cool, because your silicone needs to be cooled down so that it will set much slower. They will give you the time then to pop the bubbles, etc., and make it nicer. So to make silicone, it's not terribly complicated. Take part A and then part B and mix them. Here, once again, I'm wearing nitrile gloves. So be fast here, but thorough. So scrape the sides, scrape the bottom, mix it thoroughly, and then you can start before it starts setting too much. Right? That looks good. So if you have something like this, would be ideal.
once it is ready, if I were you, I would put it somewhere rather cool to settle, because then you will give the bubbles time to rise to the top before it becomes too viscous. So that's what I'm gonna do now. So the instructions will vary. You can find silicones that will take 10 minutes to settle, or 45. You will have to look at, I think I already said at the beginning, but as you noticed, I'm not doing this in a single day, so I might forget what I said the very first 2 minutes of this video. So something to look at is what is called the pot life. So you might, if you see something like under 10 minutes pot life, it's way too short. You're gonna get so flustered and stressed, and I don't know for you, but it hurts my eyes something crazy when I try to focus very hard on something, even for 10 minutes. So unfortunately, this silicone was advertised as having a reasonable pot life. But I realized that at the temperature that it gave, so 23 degrees Celsius, no, that was half of what was advertised. So after 5 minutes, the silicone was completely unusable. So that was a lot of lost money for me. So very disappointed. So, but as you can see, once I cooled it down, it was much more reasonable. So, I'm gonna give the silicone a good hour to set. A way to tell, of course, is simply grab the pot. You can touch the sides where you poured it, stir the bottom. If it's completely hard, and you can easily peel this off the bottom, then yours is set as well. Be careful. You don't want to ruin it if you already got this far. Alright, it's the next day, so the gasket had time to cure properly. I already removed it, and I don't know if you can tell, it's too thick, so learn from my mistakes. I used 15 milliliters from each component, so a total of 30 milliliters. Half it, like use 7 of each component, and you should have a nicely done gasket, about half this thickness. Why you don't want it that thick? Well, first off, because then there will be more bubbles trapped inside. I wonder if you can see the difference. And also because it will be less comfortable. You want it, when you press it against your face, for the silicone to give nicely, and this will be a bit too stiff. No matter, I just wanted to show you how to do this. I'm not going to use this. So the next step is going to be securing your gasket to your glasses, and you're going to need some silicone glue and possibly a small syringe like this one to be able to do a more precise job, and also because this is really hard to press down on this. If you're like me and you have some type of neuropathy, this is a pain in the ass. It really hurts. I hate doing this. You're not going to need a ton of it, fortunately. There.
So this thing stinks. It smells like vinegar, that's normal. It should stop smelling completely once it's cured. So do not try on your glasses until this is completely cured and inert and doesn't give off fumes anymore. So I did not bake mine because, well, I'm not going to keep this. But if you're sure you did a good job, bake it. Or you could just do like me and not bake it. And if you realize, oh well, I might need to shave off a little bit of the top or something after you secured it and you tried it, or you need a little bit more silicone somewhere, you could just adjust it as needed and then cast it again. I guess it's better if you don't, but this clay is so soft sometimes that it's hard to, it's easy to mess up. That's why if you're not sure, and just bake it. So why you need this? Well, because this thing is sticky, a bit like glue, and there's lots of it, so you can use it to secure the gasket inside, like press it against the sides while it cures. Makes it easier. So, of course, since you're doing a good job, you remember to put the mark and where the mark is, and then you can use your model, which you put somewhere, I don't know, this the paper model, and make a mark here somewhere. As I said, if you're going to use some type of like gel marker, do not let it get anywhere near the lenses, because it might actually like give you a nice little streak there that you don't want, and you feel the vision. Alright, I'm not going to do the best job because I'm not going to keep this. It's just to show you. So this is where I want it to be. I want it to be like this. Here. And here. Right? So looking at this, I see that I'm going to need silicone glue here, 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 and at the very bottom here. So you shouldn't go crazy with the silicone. If you're not sure, just use a tiny bit. Try it when it's cured, and then add later. Because when you're sure that, oh yeah, this is what I want, you're going to do, this is not going to work perfectly with it, but you can do a water test and fill it with water and see if you have any leaks, and then dry it completely and add more silicone to be sure that, you know, it's perfectly airtight on the edges. Right? So I'm just going to add a thin amount at the bottom here. If the glue gets places, don't panic. It's fine. It takes a little bit of time to cure completely, so that gives you a chance to wipe off any excess, especially on the lens. Because, okay, if you have a glob somewhere, wipe it off immediately, because a streak of this glue it's easy to rub off, but a proper glob, oh no, you're gonna have a hard time doing it. Right? Okay. Looks like it's in place everywhere. Oh, and I forgot to add, of course, if you have tiny, like, little streaks of silicone that you don't want, just cut them off, you know. And just make sure that you don't have sharp edges against your face. Okay. That's not too bad. I've seen worse. This model is easier to deal with because the gaskets really go all around, as you can see, even here. That's not the case for the stoggles. So the stoggles give me a little bit more grief than those. Anyways, now you can use this. Push the gasket against the sides where it needs to glue, like this. Okay. So now you have some pressure where the glue needs to stick to the gasket. So you've pressed off all of the edges, and maybe you have like a crazy little edge that doesn't want to stay in place. Just make like a bridge, like secure it on the side, and it should stay in place. If you choose to do this on normal glasses, you can still use this technique. You're going to make your own gasket frame, basically, where you have this on this side and something thick like this, securing, like maybe a bit thicker, you know, longer. You can put here on each side and put a little bit of pressure, and that should keep the gasket straight in place. And of course, when you're ready to let it cure somewhere secure, away from pets and children, so it doesn't get knocked over, make sure that it is actually where you want it to be. Alright, looks like it's the case. Put it away and let it cure for, I would say, a good 24 hours, just to be sure, because, well, if you're here, your eyes are fucked up. So you do not want the fuse from this near your eyes. That's rather straightforward. Of course, when you're done, make sure that your silicone is closed properly, so you don't waste an entire tube. If you use a syringe like I did, which is probably the best thing to do in my opinion, otherwise at the beginning I would just have a tool and then spread it at the bottom. You can do this, but it's not as nice. Empty it somewhere, because then you'll be easily able to remove this tiny little bit in the tip, and then you'll be able to reuse this, because it's just wasteful to throw it away for no reason. Because if there's a little bit more silicone, it's impossible to remove. It's a glue. It's a pain. Right? I will then, I think, maybe show you how to keep your new glasses fog-free. Because if they're not sufficiently fog-free, impossible to use, obviously, What's the point of having glasses that literally prevent you from seeing? I understand. I had this problem at the beginning with my Sena glasses and my eye eco glasses. They were so foggy that what was I to do? Either I close my eyes to be able to be pain-free, or I used those to be able to have less pain but not be able to use my eyes. Those are just very stupid options. So I looked up how swimmers keep their goggles fog free, and yeah, some people use spit and tricks like this. I'm not putting spit in my glasses, that's gross. But you can use just liquid soap. Not all liquid soaps work. I don't understand why. I'm not going to go and do research on this because I don't have the eye stamina. But yeah, just have some liquid soap, smear on your finger, smear the lens, rinse it off, just a bit of water, not like a stream, enough to remove it, and then immediately put that on your face and create the seal. Maybe like pop the seal off at the side just to remove the excess water that pools at the bottom, and then you're good. I hope. I really hope that you'll be good and it will work for you if you try this. Okay, so how I keep my lenses from fogging up. If I don't do this, they will fog up so fast that they're unusable for me. So what I do, I rinse them. Then I grab just a tiny bit of liquid soap, smear it on the inside of the lens. If people from Struggle watch this, they will want to murder me because they specifically say not to do this. Well, I want to be able to use my glasses, so I will do this. Just put a bit of soap, make sure there's no residual soap stuck to the lens inside. Then rinse it a little, not too much, and then immediately put them on. And like this, you'll be fog free. You're gonna have to experiment a bit. Maybe you need more soap, maybe you need to rinse less. It will depend on the quality of the anti-fog coating on your lenses. By far the Struggles are the best when it comes to anti-fog technology. If you have very cheap glasses, there might still be a tiny bit of fogginess on the edges, and it might get worse when it's warm outside and you go in and out of the sun. This will be the killer situation for me. I hope it works out for you.